All right, let's talk about something in web accessibility that's, well, it's a real double-edged sword. We're going to dive into one of the most powerful, but also one of the most misunderstood ARIA attributes out there. It promises you complete control, but as you're about to see, that promise comes with a massive hidden cost for your users.
So, you know the feeling, right? You've built this incredibly complex, super interactive web app. It really feels more like a desktop program than a website. But man, getting the keyboard navigation to work properly is a total nightmare. You're just searching for that one little thing, that magic fix that's going to solve all your problems.
And that's when you find it. Role equals application. On the surface, it looks like the perfect answer. Application mode? For my web application? Yes, please. It sounds like the official, pro-level solution for really taking charge of how users interact with your stuff. But this is where things get dangerous. Because while role equals application definitely makes you a promise, it's one that comes with a really steep and often totally invisible price tag for the people actually trying to use your site.
Okay, so let's get technical for just a sec. What this role actually does is it sends a signal to assistive tech, like a screen reader, and tells it, hey, stop what you're doing. This isn't a normal web page anymore. It tells it to hand over all the controls and treat this little piece of the web like it's a standalone desktop app.
That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Kind of like an upgrade. But that simple assumption is the #1 misunderstanding that can lead you to accidentally lock people right out of your app. You see, the critical thing to understand is that this attribute doesn't magically add any new keyboard features. It doesn't build on top of what a screen reader already does.
No, it throws all of that out and replaces it completely. The moment you use this role, you're tapping the screen reader on the shoulder and saying, thanks, I'll take it from here. From that point on, you are 100% responsible for every single keyboard interaction.
So what does that actually feel like for a user? To really get it, we've got to look at how this thing completely changes the rules of the game for a screen reader.
Honestly, this is the best way to think about it. A normal web page is like driving a car with an automatic transmission. The screen reader handles all the basics, navigating by headings, links, all that stuff. It's predictable. But when you add role equals application, you've just slammed the car into manual. And guess what? You, the developer, are now the one with your hand on the gear stick. Every single shift is up to you.
Let's just walk through it. The user gets to your component. The screen reader sees role equals application and instantly flips a switch. And just like that, poof, all their normal commands are gone. Pressing H to jump to a heading doesn't work. Using arrow keys to read a paragraph? Nope. Every single key that press now goes straight to your app's code, just waiting, hoping that your code knows what to do with it. And this just creates two completely different worlds. In the default document mode, the user is in charge. They can explore, jump around, and get the lay of the land. But in your application mode, they're stuck on the railroad tracks you've built. Any content that isn't an interactive part of your custom setup, it might as well be invisible, because the user has no way to even get to it.
Okay, so this sounds pretty scary, right? Does that mean you should just never ever use it? Well, not exactly. It's a specialist tool, and like any really powerful tool, you have to know exactly when to use it and, probably more importantly, when to leave it in the toolbox.
The times where this is the right call are super specific. We're talking about web apps that are basically desktop software in a browser. Think about an online game where the arrow keys need to move a character, not a cursor, or a complex music editor, or a visual design tool. In these rare cases, standard page navigation just gets in the way.
So here's the bottom line. This should be your absolute last resort. You should only even think about using it when you can look at your UI and say with 100% certainty, the normal way a screen reader works is fundamentally broken for what this thing needs to do.
Now let's look at a classic textbook mistake, wrapping a simple web form in role equals application. A screen reader user has years of muscle memory for forms. They know to tab between fields, use arrows for radio buttons, hit spacebar for checkboxes. The moment you wrap this form, you've just broken every single one of those expectations. You've turned a simple task into a confusing mess. And that brings us to the big don't list. Just don't ever wrap your entire website in it. Don't do it to standard forms or simple documents. Be really careful with dashboards that have a mix of charts and plain old text. And please, never, ever use it as a lazy shortcut because you don't feel like managing focus correctly. Trust me, it causes way more problems than it solves.
So if role equals application is almost always the wrong tool for the job,
What's the right one? Well, the answer, like it so often is in web dev, is to just get back to the basics.
Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, it's so much better to use the tools that are designed to work with assistive technology from the get-go. A native button element, it already knows how to work with the keyboard. An A tag is the universal sign for go here. And ARIA roles like tab list have all the expected keyboard behaviors already baked right in.
And that's really the heart of it all. The whole point of accessibility isn't to fight with assistive tech, it's to work together. Using good semantic HTML and the right ARIA widgets gives screen readers what they need to create a predictable, usable experience. They're your partners in this, not your enemies.
So, the next time you're building something and you feel that temptation to reach for role equals application, just ask yourself this one question. The web is built on a fundamental agreement about how things like navigation are supposed to work. Is your cool, custom interaction really so important that it's worth tearing up that agreement and breaking the web for some of your users? Almost always, the answer is going to be no.